Wake up, rise up, Mell, be on the line. News, weather, truth, she delivers on time. Affirm your power, let the doubt unwind. Kickstart your soul, let your purpose shine. She don't just talk, she spark the flame from 7 to 8. She runs the game, Jamaica to New Orleans and all the world. The vibe don't sleep. Mell B drop gems while the world counts sheep. No fluff, no cap, just facts and fire. Affirmation flow that lifts you higher. Wake up, rise up, Mell B on the line. News, weather, truth, she delivers on time. Affirm your power, let the doubt unwind. Kickstart your soul, let your purpose shine. She don't hit snooze, she hits the mic.
Grand Rising, everybody. Excuse me. A little under the weather today. It is Thursday, January 29th, Throwback Thursday. Today, I want to speak to you about your future in the present tense. Don't say, I want to be, say, I am. When you align your mouth with your mission, the universe has no choice but to follow suit. So what are you claiming today? All right, on to our affirmation of the day, and I read, I speak with authority of someone who has already seen the victory. Thursday is for visionaries. This affirmation helps us bridge the gap between where we are and where we're going. By speaking of in the already, we shift our frequency to match our goals. All right, our word of the day is anachronism, which means a person or a thing that is chronologically out of place, especially one from a former age that is incongruous or doesn't fit in the present. For example, a rotary phone or a Rolodex in a modern tech office, if anyone even knows what a rotary phone or a Rolodex is. All right, our slang word or phrase of the day is, and this is new for me, it's a brick. I know what a brick used to be, but now it's something else. It's used to describe a very long period of time or a long distance. It's a classic piece of East Coast, especially NYC, slang that dates back to the 1990s. When you haven't seen someone in years, you've been gone for a brick. All right, on to our news. National news headlines is the Department of Justice Special Patrol Initiative. Following a high-profile incident in New York, federal authorities have announced an enhanced counterterrorism and uniform presence in several major U.S. cities to protect sensitive hub communities. Up next, national labor shift crisis. Data released today shows a sharp divide in the 2026 economy. While tech giants like Microsoft reported staggering 2025 profits surpassing $80 billion, the national workforce is grappling with the 15% increase in structural layoffs as AI integration accelerates. Also, the Supreme Court ethics review. A new legislative push in Washington is gaining momentum, seeking to establish a formal code of conduct for the Supreme Court, following fresh reports regarding undisclosed travel and gifts received by the justices. All right, on to New York. The city is on high alert with an enforced uniform presence and counterterrorism patrols deployed following an attack on the Chabad headquarters in Brooklyn. New York's community event today is Let's Go Sip and Learn, a guided cocktail tour of the newly unveiled Waldorf Astoria, led by historian Kevin Draper, starting at 5 p.m. Los Angeles. Local housing advocates are calling for a formal Skid Row heritage project to honor the legacy of activists like Shirley Raines, who passed away earlier this month. LA's community event today is Project Night, Show and Tell, an informal social at the Brig in Venice, where locals showcase personal tech and side projects starting at 7 p.m. Chicago. The city, the Chicago Tech Hub is seeing its highest ever January startup registration rate, largely driven by the new Women in Tech grants. Chicago's community event of the day is Women in Tech Chicago 2026, a major networking kickoff event at Arlo Chicago, formerly Hotel Julian, starting at 6 p.m. Atlanta. Atlanta's Human Trafficking Awareness Month accumulates today with city leaders proposing new survivor-led outreach programs. Their community event there today is 2026 Awareness Forum, a community dialogue on prevention and support systems at the Central Library, starting at 6:30 p.m. Houston. The Aldine Independent School District is holding Optimism 2026 sessions to discuss controversial proposed school boundary changes. Houston's community event today is Teague Middle School Community Meeting. District leaders and the superintendent will take feedback on the 2026 school optimization plan at 5:30 p.m. Washington, D.C. The Treasury Department has officially entered a public standoff with congressional leaders over proposed Stability Act aimed at curbing inflation. Washington's community event today is the Museum of American History Public Lecture, a deep dive into the elevation of American diplomacy and labor held at the Smithsonian. Grand Rising, Ray. Miami. Miami Beach officials are holding a special magistrate hearing today to enforce new environmentally conscious business guidelines. Their community event there today is the Jose Marti Celebration, a live celebration at Collins Park featuring music, guest speakers, and traditional cafetio at 4 p.m. Tampa's Silicon Bay initiative is officially expanding its e-board city with 2 new sustainable tech incubators. Tampa's community event is the Cigar City Industrial Tour, a 20-minute guided tour of the city's historic cigar factories at the Tampa Bay History Center at 2 p.m. Newport Richey. Good morning, Dad. Pasco County has officially opened the 2026 Green River Development Project for public bidding, aiming to modernize the historic downtown. Newport Richey's community event today is the Liverpool Live, a musical performance celebrating the British invasion at the Richey Suncoast Theater. Milwaukee. Good morning, family. The Milwaukee County Commission on Aging is holding high priority sessions today to address new healthcare navigation tools for seniors. Milwaukee's community event today is its Milwaukee's 108th birthday, a historic celebration at the Grain Exchange hosted by the Milwaukee Press Club. Vancouver. British Columbia has launched a middle-income housing task force to fast-track co-op developments in the city's West End. Vancouver's community event is the Vancouver Winter Arts Festival, interactive light displays and public art installations across the downtown core. Toronto. The Toronto Stock Exchange is seeing a new record surge in green energy mining stocks following new federal sustainability subsidies. Toronto's event today is the Design TO Festival, art talks and gallery openings in the Junction and King West districts. What's up, Jamaica? Kingston. The Caribbean American Chamber of Commerce is leading a global funding drive today to support storm recovery efforts on the island. Kingston's community event is the United for Jamaica fundraiser, a partnership with World Central Kitchen to support food security starting at 8:30 a.m. Montego Bay. Tourism authorities are reporting that private sector investments in sustainability luxury have reached a 5-year high for the North Coast. Montego Bay's community event today is the Blue Lagoon Boat Tour, a community-focused evening excursion to witness the lagoon's bioluminescence. Ocho Rios. The White River Restoration Project has officially moved to Phase 2, aimed at protecting local biodiversity. Ocho Rios community event today is the Splash and Slide Family Day, a local gathering and community event at the Blue Hole Jamaica Water Park. Grand Rising, Grand Rising. Negril 7 Mile Beach Preservation Initiative is receiving new funding to combat coastal erosion. Their community event today is the 7 Mile Beach Community Jog, a popular local morning activity on the White Sands focused on active wellness. Next up, we have the Cayman Islands. Financial regulators are introducing new local first trade guidelines to protect Cayman-owned businesses from global market volatility. Cayman Islands community event today is the Rum Point Community Swim, a morning gathering for residents at the sheltered lagoons of Rum Point. Nassau, Bahamas. Buckeye Bahamas Hub announced a major $7,500 donation today to support local youth development and vocational training. Nassau's community event today is the Unwinding Hour, a live soulful music performance by Kale at Yellow Bell, the Island House. Nigeria. The 77th Republic Day celebrations continue with a focus on national unity and the presentation of meritorious service medals to over 100 personnel. Nigeria's community event today is the Lagos Small Business Empowerment Forum, a workshop and networking event for local entrepreneurs to discuss expansion. Ghana. The global scientific community has officially converged on Accra for the launch of Quantum Horizons, a UNESCO-backed future tech initiative. Their community event is the UNESCO Global Launch of the Future, a landmark summit for science and technology held in Accra. The Netherlands. Dutch climate activists are meeting with government officials to discuss equitable solutions for vulnerable populations impacted by new energy taxes. The Netherlands community event today is the Climate Justice Community Blue and Drinks Forum, an informal networking event at the Hav Community Hub starting at 6 p.m. Vietnam. Vietnam's Ministry of Trade is reporting a gold rush in foreign direct investment for high-tech manufacturing in the Hanoi region. Their community event there today is the Old Quarter Art Walk, a morning tour of Hanoi's historic district focusing on traditional crafts and modern art. And last, we have France. Marginalized communities in Nice and Paris are launching a major political coordination effort ahead of upcoming municipal elections. Their community event there today is the ESCP Montparnasse Symposium, a public discussion on cooperative banking and green energy transitions at the ESCP Auditorium. All right, on to our weather forecast for around the globe. Starting with New York. New York overcast with high of 23 and a low of 9. Los Angeles, sunny with a high of 80 and a low of 51. Chicago, sunny with a high of 14 and a low of 6. Atlanta, cloudy with a high of 47 and a low of 28. Houston, partly sunny with a high of 65 and a low of 40. Washington, D.C., sunny with a high of 41 and a low of 26. Miami, partly sunny with a high of 71 and a low of 52. Tampa, sunny with a high of 62 and a low of 40. Newport Richey, sunny with a high of 59 and a low of 40. Milwaukee, sunny with a high of 14 and a low of 1. Vancouver, cloudy with a high of 46 and a low of 39. Toronto, cloudy with a high of 19 and a low of 9. Kingston, rain with a high of 84 and a low of 70. Montego Bay, light rain with a high of 81 and a low of 73. Ocho Rios, light rain with a high of 81 and a low of 73. Negril, light rain with a high of 84 and a low of 77. Cayman Islands, mostly cloudy with a high of 79 and a low of 75. Nassau, partly sunny with a high of 70 and a low of 69. Nigeria, Light rain with a high of 94 and a low of 79. In Ghana, mostly sunny with a high of 89 and a low of 80. Amsterdam, cloudy with a high of 33 and a low of 30. Hanoi, mostly cloudy with a high of 75 and a low of 63. And Paris, cloudy with a high of 43 and a low of 32. All right, on to our sports. First up, NBA. NBA final scores for yesterday was the Hawks over the Celtics, 117 over 106. The Cavaliers over the Lakers, 129 to 99. The Pacers over the Bulls, 114 to 110. The Heat over the Magic, 108 to 105. The Knicks over the Raptors, 121 to 115. The Grizzlies over the Hornets, 118 to 112. The Timberwolves over the Mavericks, 115 to 109. The Warriors over the Jazz, 124 to 112. And the Spurs over the Rockets, 105 to 101. In the NBA today, we're going to have the Bucks versus the Wizards at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Amazon Prime. We have the Kings and the 76ers also at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on NBCS and NBCS California, and I think that's Philly. Also, we have the Rockets and the Hawks at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on FDSSE and SCHN. We have the Heat and the Bulls at 9 p.m. also on CHSN and FDSSUN. We have the Hornets and the Mavericks at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time on FDSSE and KFAA. Three more. We have the Nets and the Nuggets will be at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YES, ALT2, and KTVD. Then we have the Suns and the Pistons also at 10 p.m. on AZ Family and Sons Plus. And last, we have the Thunder and the Timberwolves will be at 10:30 Eastern Standard Time on Amazon Prime and FDSOK. All right, on to our Jamaican Premier League for soccer. Yesterday's score was for Tivoli Gardens and Treasure Beach. That game ended in a draw, so it was 0-0. And today we have Mount Pleasant versus Arnett Gardens will be at 3 p.m. local time. In that channel, they will be on Sportsmax. Says this is a highly anticipated matchup between two of the league's heavyweights as the jockey for position in the top four. We also have Dumbeholden versus the Cavalier at 3 p.m. as well on Sportsmax and TVJ Sports. Cavaliers looking to bounce back and maintain their pressure on the league's leaders, while Dumbeholden fights to climb out of the middle of the table. All right, on to our daily feature today, which is Throwback Thursday. Today, I have a spotlight on the legacy of the Green Book. So today's Throwback Thursday takes us into a chapter of American history that every traveler, every family, and every freedom-seeking soul needs to understand. We're talking about the Green Book, not the movie, but the real guide that helped Black Americans travel safely during the most dangerous areas and auras in this country. So let's set the scene. It's the 1930s through the 1960s, the Jim Crow era. Segregation wasn't just a Southern problem, it was nationwide. Black travelers faced humiliation, refusal of service, threats of violence, and the terror of sundown towns, places where Black people were banned after dark. Stopping for gas, getting a meal, or finding a hotel wasn't simple. It was a risk. A wrong turn could cost you your dignity or even your life. Families packed blankets, pillows, food, extra gas, and even portable toilets because they couldn't rely on being served anywhere along the road. And in the middle of all this, one man stepped up with a solution. The Green Book was created in 1936 by Victor Hugo Green, a Black postal worker from Harlem. He saw the dangers Black motorists face and decided to build a tool that would protect them. The first edition focused only on New York, but demand grew fast. By the 1940s, the guide expanded across the entire United States and eventually into Canada, Mexico, the Caribbean, and Bermuda. Victor Green's mission was simple but powerful. To quote him, to give the Negro traveler information that would keep him from running into difficulties, embarrassments, and to make his trip more enjoyable, end quote. This wasn't just a book, it was a lifeline. So what's inside the Green Book, or what was inside of it? The Green Book listed hotels, restaurants, gas stations, beauty salons, barbershops, nightclubs, private homes offering lodging, and auto repair shops. These were places where Black travelers would be welcomed, served, and safe. One historian said it best, and I quote, "It didn't tell you if a place had a good steak. It told you where you could be safe," end quote. That's how essential this guide was. So why did it matter? During the mid-20th century, car ownership was rising across America. Road trips became a symbol of freedom, but not for everyone. While white families enjoyed spontaneous travel, Black families had to plan every mile with caution. The Green Book gave Black travelers something priceless, the ability to move freely in a country that tried to restrict their movement. It created a parallel travel network, a hidden map of safety woven through a hostile landscape. Some called it a secret roadmap for survival. By the early 1960s, the Green Book had a circulation of over 2 million copies nationwide. The Green Book as resistance. So let's be clear, the Green Book wasn't just about travel. It was an act of resistance. It empowered Black families to vacation without fear, visit relatives across states, travel for work, support Black-owned businesses, and maintain dignity in a system designed to strip it away. It also strengthened community networks. Many of the listed businesses were Black-owned, meaning the Green Book circulated dollars within the community long before Buy Black became a movement. This guide helped build economic ecosystems quietly, strategically, and powerfully. The end of the Green Book and its legacy. The Green Book was published annually from 1936 to 1967. It faded out after the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which outlawed discrimination in public accommodations. But its legacy lives on. Today, historians, filmmakers, and educators recognize the Green Book as a symbol of Black resilience, a tool of survival, a blueprint for community care, a reminder of the realities of segregation, and a testament to the power of information. It shows us that even the hardest conditions, Black people created systems of safety, dignity, and freedom. So on this Throwback Thursday, remember this. The Green Book wasn't just a travel guide. It was a shield, a compass, a promise that no matter how dangerous the road, Black travelers were not alone. Victor Hugo Green believed that one day this book wouldn't be needed. And when the Civil Rights Act passed, he wrote that he looked forward to the day when the Negro traveler can go wherever he pleases. His dream was a freedom of movement, sometimes so not so simple, yet revolutionary. And today we honor that legacy. Also, today there's actually an app. I actually have it on my phone too. Not only does it cover the US, but now it's global. So download it today before your next vacation. All right, on to our book club, where we are still reading The Miseducation of the Negro by Carter Woodson. We are on chapter 14, The Loss of Vision. Yes, there was also a movie. This chapter, Woodson addresses one of the deepest wounds caused by miseducation, the loss of collective vision among Black people. He argues that when the community loses its sense of purpose, direction, and destiny, it becomes vulnerable to manipulation, stagnation, and dependency. Woodson believed that miseducation didn't just distort facts, it distorted imagination. It trained Black people to see limitations instead of possibilities, to doubt their own capabilities, and to accept roles that were beneath their potential. This chapter is about reclaiming the ability to dream, plan, and build for ourselves. Woodson explains that miseducation stripped Black people of the ability to envision a future beyond the system that oppressed them. Instead of cultivating innovators, creators, and nation builders, the educational system produced followers instead of thinkers, consumers instead of producers, and dependents instead of decision makers. He argues that many Black leaders and professionals lacked long-term vision because they were trained to imitate white institutions rather than create new ones. This imitation mindset led to schools that didn't reflect Black history or culture, churches that didn't address community needs, businesses that didn't build economic power, and organizations that lacked strategy and purpose. Woodson believed that without a clear vision, a community becomes reactive instead of proactive, always responding to crisis instead of shaping its own destiny. So his core message is a people without vision cannot progress. A people with vision cannot be stopped. So how to apply this to your life? This chapter is a call to reawaken your imagination personally and collectively. Here's how Woodson's wisdom applies today. First, reclaim your ability to dream. Don't limit your goals to what you see. Don't shrink your vision to fit someone else's expectations. Woodson believed imagination is a form of liberation. 2, create long-term plans, not short-term reactions. Ask yourself, what am I building? What legacy am I creating? And what future am I shaping for my family and community? Vision requires intention. 3, surround yourself with visionaries. Your circle should challenge you, inspire you, and expand your thinking. If everyone around you is comfortable, your vision will shrink. 4, build institutions, not just ideas. Woodson believed progress requires structure, schools, businesses, organizations, and systems that serve the community. Your vision should have a blueprint. And 5, protect your imagination from negativity. Miseducation teaches doubt. Vision teaches possibility. Choose possibility. All right, on to our cause of the day is prostate cancer awareness. What is it? Cancer that occurs in the prostate, a small walnut-shaped gland in men that produces the seminal fluid that nurtures and transports their essence. Black men are 1.7 times more likely to be diagnosed with and 2.1 times more likely to die from prostate cancer than white men. Genetics play a role, but so does the lack of early screening in our communities. Symptoms: trouble urinating, decreased force in the stream of urine, blood in the urine or your essence, and bone pain. So prevention, early screening is everything. Black men should start discussing PSA, prostate-specific antigens, testing with their doctors around age 40, especially if there's a family history. For more information and resources, contact ZERO, Z-E-R-O, the end of prostate cancer, at zerocancer.org. All right, on to our Today in History. First up, we have the first modern automobile in 1886. Carl Benz applied for the patent for his vehicle powered by a gas engine. With 3 wheels and a rear-mounted engine, this Benz patent motor wagon is considered the first true automobile, signaling the end of a horse and buggy era. Second, the Raven takes flight in 1845. Edgar Allan Poe's hauntingly rhythmic poem, The Raven, was first published in the New York Evening Mirror. It became an overnight sensation, making Poe a household name and cementing the phrase, nevermore, into global vocabulary. All right, African American history. First up, we have Crystal Bird Fawcett of 1938. On this day, we remember the legacy of the first Black woman elected to a state legislature in the United States, in Pennsylvania. She wasn't just a politician, she was a close advisor to Eleanor Roosevelt and helped integrate the Office of Civilian Defense. Next, the first Black-owned newspaper in Canada, 1834. The Voice of the Fugitive began publication around this time, founded by Henry and Mary Bibb. It served as a vital communication tool for those who had escaped slavery via the Underground Railroad, helping them find housing, work, and community in Ontario. So on to our African American scientists and inventors. First up, we have Lewis Latimer. While Edison is credited with the light bulb, it was Lewis Latimer, who patented the carbon filament in 1881. Edison's original paper filament burned out in hours. Latimer's carbon version lasted for days, making electric light affordable and practical for every average home. He also addressed the blueprints for Alexander Graham Bell's first telephone. Next up, we have Dr. Charles Drew. Known as the father of the blood bank, he discovered a method for long-term storage of blood plasma. During World War II, he headed the Blood for Britain project. He resigned in protest when the military insisted on segregating blood by race, proving that the science knows no color line, even when society does. And last, we have Marian Croak. She is the developer of the Voice over Internet Protocol, or VoIP. If you have ever used Zoom, Skype, or made a call over Wi-Fi, you are using her technology. She holds over 200 patents and was one of the first 2 Black women to be inducted into the National Inventors Hall of Fame. All right, on to our Back to Roots segment, where we are still spotlighting empires. First up, we have the Dahomey, the Ogogie as well. Located in modern Benin, this kingdom featured the only all-female military regiment in documented history. Known as the Ogogie and the inspiration for the Woman King movie, these women were the king's elite guard. They were feared for their tactical speed, pain tolerance, and unwavering discipline. Next, the Kanem Bornu Empire, one of the longest lasting empires in world history, over 1,000 years. They controlled the lucrative sought for gold trade routes across the Sahara. Their military was famous for its heavy cavalry, soldiers and horses clad entirely in quilted armor. Also, we have Carthage, Hannibal's African origins. While often whitewashed in history books, Carthage was a North African powerhouse founded by Phoenicians who intermixed with indigenous Berber and Libyan populations. Their greatest general, Hannibal Barca, famously crossed the Alps with war elephants to challenge Rome, proving that African military genius reached the very gates of Europe. All right, on to our facts or fiction, where we are still spotlighting the government shadows this week. First up, we have Project Serpo. The claim: it was a secret exchange program in 1965 where 12 American military personnel traveled to the planet Zeta Reticuli on an alien spacecraft. This was fiction. This originated from an anonymous internet leak in 2005. There is zero physical or documentary evidence to support an interplanetary exchange. 2, the Dulce-based War. That claim was in 1979, a secret underground battle occurred between U.S. military Delta Force and aliens at a base in Dulce, New Mexico. This one is also false. The story relies entirely on the testimony of Phil Shatner. No records of military casualties or a base at that location has ever been found. And last, the black budget ghost aircraft. The government operates stealth aircraft that use plasma stealth or cloaking technology that makes them invisible to both radar and the naked eye. The term refers to alleged U.S. military aircraft developed in deep secrecy, funded through what's known as the black budget, money allocated to intelligence and defense programs that are classified and not publicly itemized. These aircrafts are called ghosts because they don't officially exist. Their funding is hidden. Their missions are classified, and they are rarely photographed. They often appear only in rumors, leaks, and eyewitnesses reports. This is where conspiracy, aerospace engineering, and national security all blend together. This is a fact. While the invisibility isn't 100% like a movie, the black budget for advanced aerospace, like the B-21 Raider, is massive, and many UFO sightings are actually classified U.S. flight tests. All right, on to our tech tip of the day, which is visual search for business. Use the Google Lens app to identify products, translate documents, and find where to buy. Why? For the entrepreneurs out there, if you see a product or a piece of furniture you want to buy for your office, don't try to describe it in the search bar. Just snap a photo. Open the Google app and tap the camera icon in the search bar. Point it at anything, and AI will find exactly what it is and where it's sold. All right, our finance tip of the day is understanding term versus whole life insurance. So use life insurance as a shield, not just a burial fund. Term life is affordable and covers you for a set time, usually 10 to 30 years, to protect your family during your working years. Whole life is more expensive, but it builds cash value. Many people are overinsured on whole life and underinsured on the total payout. Review your policy to ensure your family can keep that house and the lifestyle if you are no longer there. Our fun fact of the day is the billionaire Mansa Musa's impact. When the Milan Emperor Mansa Musa went on his pilgrimage to Mecca, he accidentally caused an economic crisis in Egypt. He traveled with a caravan of 60,000 men and thousands of pounds of gold. He gave away so much gold to the poor in Cairo that the value of gold dropped significantly, and it took the Egyptian economy over 12 years to fully recover from his charity. All right, our fun holiday of the day is it's National Puzzle Day. The first jigsaw puzzle was created around 1760 by a British map maker named John Spilsbury. He pasted a map into a sheet of wood and cut around all the borders of the countries. He used them as educational tools to teach geography to children. Today celebrates all puzzles, crosswords, Sudoku, jigsaws, and even complex life puzzles we deal with daily. Solving puzzles is proven to improve memory and lower the risk of cognitive decline. All right, our daily quote, and I read, "What do we do as Black women is take the worst situations and create from that point." End quote. This quote comes from Miss Viola Davis. So for my queens listening this morning, if you're facing a setback, remember that you are an architect of resilience. You don't just strive through struggle, you create something beautiful from within it. Music and entertainment segment. First up, we have the Smithsonian's Hip Hop Archive 2.0. The National Museum of African American History and Culture has updated its hip hop exhibit for 2026 to include the AI era. It explores how Black artists are using and fighting artificial intelligence to protect their vocal likeness and creative soul. Also, we have Marcia Martin's new studio wing. The youngest executive producer in Hollywood history is expanding her empire. At just 21, Miss Martin is opening a dedicated animation wing to ensure Black children see themselves reflected in high-quality cartoons and digital media from a young age. All right, on the celebrity gossip, the face of heritage. Tyla is rumored to be the new face of a 100-year-old heritage jewelry brand. She would be the first South African artist to lead a global campaign for the house. This represents the African takeover of global marketing, where the sounds and faces of the continent are now the primary drivers of cool in Paris and Milan. Also, actor Damson Idris was spotted at an exclusive classic car auction. He reportedly outbid 3 others for a rare 1960s Mercedes. Collecting vintage cars has become a major wealth preservation strategy for young Black actors, treating metal as a high-yield investment similar to fine art. All right, in our celebrity birthdays today, we have Oprah Winfrey is 72, the queen of all media. And we also have Uncle Charlie Wilson is 73. And we have Sharif Atkins, best known for his roles on ER and White Collar. He is 51. All right, on to our lifestyle segment where today's soul food recipe is blackened catfish with lemon. Drink of the day is cucumber mint hydration water. Men's health tip for today is reduce sodium intake, fellas. Help manage blood pressure, especially important for Black men. And also go to the doctor. Your fashion tip today, gentlemen, is layer smart. Use thin base layers to stay warm without bulk. Women's health and beauty tip of the day is exfoliate gently. This removes dead skin and boosts glow. Avoid over scrubbing to protect your skin's barrier. Women's fashion tip of the day is belt your coat. It creates a shape and elevates winter outerwear. Our household chore of the day is dust ceiling fans. Dust buildup circulates allergens. A quick wipe improves your air quality. And women, our Auto Mechanics 101 for today is know how to jump a car. Red to red, black to metal round. Confidence and safety. All right, relationship advice for couples today. Use I feel statements to reduce conflict and increase clarity. Friendships, be the friend who listens without fixing. And family, have a tech-free hour night tonight. Presence builds connections. All right, in our Before They Were Legends segment, we spotlight today Mr. James Brown. Before James Brown became the godfather of soul, he was a boy growing up in extreme poverty in Augusta, Georgia. He shined shoes, danced for spare change, and was sent to juvenile detention center at 16 just for petty theft. But even behind bars, his talent was undeniable. He formed a gospel group with other inmates and discovered the electricity of performance. When he was released, he joined Bobby Bird's group, and the rest was history. His drive, discipline, and unmatched work ethic turned him into a global icon whose influence shaped funk, soul, hip hop, and pop culture. All right, last but not least, our daily horoscopes, where we start always with Aries. The moon in Cancer today brings clarity. Relax at home tonight and just be. Your lucky numbers today are 2, 11, and 20. Taurus, communication with others is highly beneficial. Close a chapter that needs closure. Your lucky numbers today are 4, 13, and 31. Gemini, focus on your personal value system. What do you truly stand for in 2026? Your lucky numbers today are 6, 15, and 24. Cancer, the moon entering your sign feels nourishing. Visit a museum or show yourself some care. Cancer's lucky numbers today are 9, 18, and 27. Leo, stop driving yourself to do what looks fancy. Simple is sustainable. Your lucky numbers today are 3, 12, and 21. Virgo, break large projects into manageable steps. A short list is your best friend. Your lucky numbers today are 5, 14, and 23. Libra, check your finances tonight. A small adjustment now saves a major headache later. Your lucky numbers today are 1, 10, and 19. Scorpio, be prepared to go more than halfway with someone. Harmony is worth the effort. Your lucky numbers today are 7, 16, and 25. Sagittarius, get organized. Your future self will thank you for the prep work you do today. Your lucky numbers are 8, 17, and 26. Capricorn, a professional jackpot moment is still in play. Stay sharp and stay present. Lucky numbers for you today are 2, 11, and 47. Aquarius, commitment is your superpower. Whatever you start today has longevity. Your lucky numbers are 4, 22, and 40. And Pisces, plan a quiet shared experience with a partner. Silence says more words. Silence says more than words. Your lucky numbers today are 9, 27, and 36. All right. Thank you to our sponsors, Bello Burn Hot Sauce, RAS Herbals, Calorane Candles, and Universal Madness. In announcements, don't forget to watch Chief and Gold tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Lux Radio Network and also luxradio.com. All right, that's it for today, this morning. Go out and have a great day. Until tomorrow morning, this is Mell B saying stay good, stay focused, and don't let no one take you off your pedestal. Until tomorrow.